before I start this, I would like to say Kendrick Lamar won the beef, okay? He's a better lyricist. He's a better rapper. He's blacker.
I'm stronger than you. My bitch thicker than yours. My gun's bigger than yours. Nigga, my gun's bigger than yours.
He's closer to the earth. He may be a better husband, better father, I don't know. But he's still a hypocrite. And to have this conversation, we have to remove the negative connotation from the word hypocrite. It's very easy to do one thing and say another, especially when you're trying to change for the better. You may still fall into old habits, you may not have overhauled every part of your life, or you may just be ignorant of what it is that you're doing and how that's hypocritical. I can't name one person that isn't a hypocrite, actually. And if you can, I'll meet you in the comments. But he's not who's on trial today. Who's actually on trial is you guys, the fans and y'all dumbass takes. The cult of Kendrick Lamar does not understand. Not all criticism means you're for the other side. We're starting to get more and more delusional as a fan base and arguing facts versus emotion. It's looking crazy. And this is coming from a Kendrick Lamar fan. And to prove that to you, I'm gonna recite one of my favorite songs off the dome. I Am. But I mean, y'all can't tell that I'm doing it off the top of the dome, but you're just gonna have to trust me. Alright, y'all don't understand me. My plan B is to win your heart before I win a Grammy. Words like a sore hand. I fucked up already. Just trust me though. That's my shit. And go listen to that, by the way. That's a very underrated song on a very underrated tape. But you can be a great rapper and make bad songs. You can be a great lyricist, but make bad rhymes. You can be pro-black, pro-women, pro-whatever, and still be pandering or be a hypocrite. None of that makes him a bad person. But at a certain point, we gotta stop lying to ourselves about the people we listen to. I've said this before, blind approval of certain artists just because we enjoy the music is a one-way ticket to a brainwashed level of stupidity. Now, before you get into the comments accusing me of, taking that hush money from Aubrey Graham, just know there's a video coming out on him too. He's not absolved from this. Kendrick said it well himself when he said he is not your savior, but a lot of you did not listen to it. And thus, we have now formed the cult of Kendrick Lamar. Let's talk about it. There's not that much negative to say about Kendrick himself, because for the most part, that's still one of my favorite rappers, so I can't talk too crazy. But what I can talk about is the new wave of Kendrick Lamar fans. There are two distinct leading groups that are causing this issue. One, general everyday listeners that don't know much about hip-hop, don't know much about music industry, but have a very loud voice. And two, the dumbasses that think they do know a lot about hip-hop. They've listened to enough rappers in their life to now develop the whole personality of a hip-hop head. But the problem is, if you're far against or far for any person, you're probably really stupid. And you're probably not going to be convinced to change your ways with this video. But feel free to watch it anyway. And they've watered down the winning side so much that it starts to look less winning. And you would think after dropping a banger like Not Like Us, it'd be so easy to just stay on the winning side. But there's so much hypocrisy in the way that we judge people's morals, and very overzealous in the amount of credit we give in regards to their intention, their strategy, what lyrics mean at times. And lastly, there's a lot of lying to ourselves and to others about what songs are good or not, just because it's cool right now to like one person as opposed to the other. When I started this video, we were on a completely different playing field in terms of the level of hate versus the level of love. But now the veil is lifting. Regular people that don't fall into groupthink and think for themselves are starting to see more and more contradictions, not just on one side, but on both. The complete moral victory that is not the same anymore. It's starting to look a lot more gray, which is to the dismay of a lot of, as academics would call it, Kbots. And since we're on moral victories, let's talk morals. Kendrick has always been and always positioned himself as a pro-black, very conscious type of rapper, which he is. Every tape has a couple of songs which speak directly to a certain subset of people who are disenfranchised, broke, marginalized, or just going through a hard time and either making it out of it or telling the story from it, which I love because I've been needing that type of shit sometimes. I think off the head, I'd say Tammy's song, I think Keisha's song as well, and there was a couple on Section 80. On To Paper Butterfly, it was the one where he was rapping from the perspective of a hobo that was Jesus. I think that was the song. The more recent one I can remember, because I loved Mr. Immoral, was Auntie Diaries. It got a little bit of backlash for that one, but that was a great song to me, I ain't gonna lie. But in any case, it's always been brand consistent. He's always been a guy to talk about social issues and speak on it in a way that brings awareness or just, spread some sort of motivation to the people that are listening. But that in itself does not qualify you to judge another. You can spread awareness, but in the world that I come from and the religions that I believe in, there's only one judge in the world. And He's not of this world. Everybody else should put down their stones and get back to cleaning up their glass house. The foundation started to shake a little bit, and the moral high ground started to get lost when people start to realize the things that he's condemning Drake for, he supports either directly or indirectly, but consciously. Forewarning, I don't really care what happens in the court of Twitter, but it's interesting to see him using the court of Twitter allegations and accusations and things like that in order to gain a moral high ground. But the logic doesn't apply both ways. And another forewarning, I'm going to say some names to make a point. That does not mean that they did the things that are alleged of them. This is simply to show that you only get the benefit of the doubt if you're well liked. He doesn't actually live all the things he raps about. It just sounds good. He is not your savior. He's just a regular guy trying to sell some records. Brought Tommy Clown on stage after the whole Drake thing. Yet, that man was caught in the car with a 16-year-old. And his excuse was he was trying to pay her rent. In the same month, he's collaborating with Future. His main disses against Drake were he's not a family man. We hate the bitches you fuck. I don't know if you know, but him and Future fuck the same bitches. The whole camp was quiet as it relates to Jay-Z's accusations, which I would be too until I got more information. But if you're holier than thou, you gotta be holier than thou at every moment and with everybody. Picking and choosing who to condemn based off how much you like them and your relationship with them sounds like hypocrisy to me. Alright, I'm about to rapid fire some names. Dr. Dre, C Breezy, Kodak Black. Some vital parts of its creative process, others frequent collaborators. In any case, all have allegedly done something that's the opposite of what he claims to care so deeply about. It's for the records, man. It sounds good. It's a good clip. It's a good, feel-good song. That's not his real life. And to me, that's not necessarily a bad thing. At a certain point, all people deserve redemption. I'm not the same person I was 7 days ago, let alone 7 years ago. We just have to start being honest about the motives. It's to sell some records. Speaking of selling records, there's some hard conversations to have in terms of what awards come from just having relationships, what's real, what's not, what's just a marketing campaign, and what is actual real sentiments by real people that aren't being paid to say it. And I will not be having that conversation in this video because that may be a little bit too much for this. I still want to be welcomed in the Kendrick Lamar Twitter community, but I already know they gonna fry my ass up for this one. I gotta live my truth. But what we can talk about is, I think, something that we all know, but we try to hide from. My GOAT is a beef merchant. Whenever it's time to beef, he shines. Of course, you can drop without beefing. Don't geek. Don't get it twisted. But a lot of notable moments of his career come from arguing with niggas. And it's just so funny to me. I'm not mad at a career boost coming from beef with Drake. Having the biggest career does not make you a better rapper. So the way that I see other Kendrick Lamar fans talking about, this Kendrick and SZA stadium tour is about to be better than anything Drake's ever done. Let's be honest here. Like, can we stop? We can support without being delusional. Comparing pop star numbers to rap star numbers has never been our measuring bar. Why is it now? If that was just Kendrick on the bill, it's not doing those numbers. And that's fine. He's not a rapper that needs to be the largest. He can be the best. And I think because he's so good at what he does and he's not the most vocal, the stands start to run a little wild in the level of meaning and strategy they assign to the most simplest of decisions. Sometimes it is a double entendre, while other times he's just saying what's up.
Hey.
Oh! He said hey as a greeting, but also as in hey for horses because we're just in here horsing around. Did you also catch it was an acronym for hello eccentric youngsters? Oh, but it's also an acronym for how's everyone's yarning because we're directly
I was just saying.
from a yarn factory.
There's so much over-analyzing of Kendrick Lamar lyrics and strategy that the lead bots, DJ Head, Punch, Top Dog, and anybody that's CD affiliated will start to chime in and use whatever we're saying as more marketing for Kendrick. Honestly, this right here is kind of what started this whole thing for me. The blatant overanalyzing. There's a certain level of glazing that we need to stay clear of as people, or else you start to fall into a level of brainwash and parasocialism that turns you stupid. I'm especially hard on the male Kendrick Lamar stans. When women do the whole stand thing, I tend to let it go. That might be a little sexist, but there's enough precedent there for that type of behavior that I just let it rock. I'm not, leave me out of women's business. I leave that to them and the kids. But we have grown men on social media talking about Kendrick was angry at us. I think Oh my God. There are people that are crying real tears because Kendrick Lamar has saved us from the tyranny of a mixed rapper from Toronto.
Like these Kendrick songs, this music, these hip hop artists, this is not just a fucking rap song. This is our life. And if you don't get that shit, that's cool. That's cool. Just don't speak on that shit.
The worst part, it's not joblessness. A lot of y'all have jobs. It's just, this is what you choose to do in your spare time. How do you function in the workforce when these are your thoughts? But you know what? Let me not get too deep into it. Maybe it stuck with you emotionally. I appreciate that. But I'm begging you, let's be guided. It's starting to look crazy. And just a side note, but while we're talking strategy, it makes sense to drop a regional sounding tape right after uniting LA against, Canada and the emotional army that is OVO. But I will say that tape didn't really do it for me. As a guy that has listened to and still listens to some LA rappers, Dumb Hands, Fifo Finper, or like a Blue Bucks Clan or Shoreline Mafia, if they still together. I don't know, I'm listening to the old stuff. In any case, it didn't hit to me, and it didn't to a lot of people. Yet we're on social media arguing that if you don't give this Kendrick Lamar a chance, it's because you're a hater, or your brain's not developed enough, or any of the other things that are here on the screen right now. Maybe it just wasn't it. We gotta stop lying to ourselves. And once we start there, the world starts healing. I never thought of the day that they'd be comparing Kendrick Lamar fans to Nicki and Beyonce fans. That's when we've gone too far. Last but not least, he is not 100% innocent in this at all. From the idea that he is moving hypocritical, you can kind of see that the stands defending him would not want to believe this. And he knows this and continues to push the narrative that he may not 100% believe in. I'm gonna start with the rapping like he's trying to get the slaves freed line, because he does. He raps like that sometimes. We've had so much discourse over the idea that slave movies are not a form of media that we need anymore. We don't need that to pay tribute anymore, but we still have these types of raps. What's the point of time all of us was in chains? Like the settlers tried to, come on, bro. Let's be honest. It still cranks, but sometimes he raps like he's trying to get the slaves freed. Why are we lying? It's still a good song. Two things can be true, but cognitive dissonance on the TL on social media. In the new tape he just dropped, he specifically went at a white comedian for speaking on black women.
Pops is black, mom white. That's what's up. Hey, you rarely see the other one. Step it up, sisters. Catch some white every once in a while. What the yo?
He didn't say specifically who he was talking about, but a hit dog on Holla and Andrew Schultz has been going crazy for the last 2 or 3 weeks. But the issue here is, why did he say that? If we make a quick callback to all the people that he's platformed and he still messes with, talking about black women is not the worst thing that he condones. Matter of fact, I got this from old Schultz himself, but in relation to the rapping like he's trying to get the slaves freed, he's literally doing a live action slave reenaction movie with the creators of South Park, who notoriously make fun of any and everybody, including multiple black women. I think just last year it was Lizzo. So that line was definitely a test move. Moves the needle in terms of getting a very vocal audience on your side, but probably not something that he really acts on in his day-to-day. Now, the way that Schultz responded is, we're not gonna talk about that one. The problem with being ignorant to history is when you start talking, the way that you say things matters a lot more, especially when there's a cultural disconnect. I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I'm pretty sure he was just trying to match with him, but I'm not arguing for bro at all. Y'all can go ahead and get at him. Let's get back to Kendrick though. One small thing that I noticed that looks like a shout out to other people, from a marketing perspective, it definitely could be looked at as panda. He threw larger black women in the music video for Squabble Up. Great marketing. Like a Target ad. Here, everybody gets representation. You get representation. You get representation. Maybe genuine, but in any case, it looks good, and that's all that really matters when you want to sell some records. It's very easy to see what angles he could be playing, or what the label's playing. Doesn't matter. It's definitely pandering to black women, and that's a good audience to get behind you, because they're very vocal market movers in terms of swaying public opinion. As long as he doesn't do anything too egregious, you'll be just fine, but it's definitely a hard audience to keep. All in all, I've said this on many videos, the man's just doing his job. Marketing is a major part of being a rapper. Being an artist, being a creative, you have to sell yourself to various groups of people, and you have to do it in a lot of ways, and you gotta still seem authentic and still put your craft behind you. There's no way that he doesn't care about everything that he talks about. It's just some things just get tacked on. Some things matter more than others, and he lives that life more directly than others. That's cool. As listeners, fans, learn to spot the difference. Think outside of your love for your artists. And maybe, just maybe, we can have less arguments on social media. Feel free to argue in the comments though. Just be sure to leave a like first. But that's enough of what I think. What do you think?